Okay, all right. Greetings and peace, everyone. Welcome to the Committed Relationships and Spiritual Activity YouTube channel, aka Krisha, C.R.S.A. I am your host, Neo, and I'm here to share some info with the people. I am what is called a personal development consultant and also a relationship consultant. What I do is, for years after a breakup of mine that I had with a relationship I had with a woman some years ago, made me realize that I had to learn about relationships and that there was very little to nothing that I knew about relationships. And what I did know about relationships came from the TV and the movies and what I seen around me. There was no training. And if you think about it, there's no training that really goes on with the average person in general, especially with parents, because a lot of parents do not know much about relationships based off of what they've seen on TV, movies, and what they've been through. But with most people, I've learned that there's very little to no analysis that actually goes into relationships. And if you think about it, there's very little to no analysis that goes on with relationships with most people. And there's no relationship schools or courses, which now that I've learned a lot, I probably could create a course of some sort. So for me, I've been studying on my own relationships for years, both going through my own relationships and utilizing that information and analyzing that information, going through my own personal development process, developing my own psyche, my own mind to a higher level, evolving, and overall going through my own spiritual awakening. First starting off with my family, studying my own family. So I've been doing that for years, read a few books, and yada yada yada. So now I have amassed a great amount of what I call a relationship mindset, to where now I perceive things regarding relationships on a very high level. So now I have this YouTube channel that I'm sharing this information for, that I've learned throughout my years, and also new information that I'm learning, because learning is a continuous process. You continue to learn, and that's one thing that a lot of people fail to really understand, is that even after you get out of high school, after you get out of college, you still are supposed to continue to learn, because that is a part of life. And a lot of people, they think that once they graduate from high school or college and they have a job, that boom, that's just that's the end of learning. No, it's a continuous process. So what I want to talk about today is relationships as a team orientation, as a team sport. It's supposed to be team oriented. And what I mean by that is working together as a team. And when you go into a relationship, it's important that everyone involved, or that's about to be involved, have a team mindset, if not before the relationship, at least at the start or within the beginning of the relationship. And team mindset is just like a basketball team or a football team. And I'm going to be using basketball and football sports as a reference point, which is perfect for the average American, because they understand, well, most Americans understand the basics of football and basketball. If not most, then a lot of us understand those two. I'm talking about American football, with the pigskin that we throw around. Now, a team sport is everybody is working together, and everybody has their own skills, both their intangibles that they can bring to the table, and also tangibles that they can bring to the team for the success of the team. and they all contribute in one way or another, and they all have their own roles, and they know what their roles are. This is something that I feel, and like me studying sports too, watching sports in general, it clicked to me. I was saying to myself, that is one thing that most people fail to understand, and also delegate roles. First, delegate roles within their relationships to everybody and let them know what their roles is, and for them to understand their own role. These days, people, when it comes to relationships, what they do is they go by their social programming. And if you have not checked out that video of mine, social programming of relationships, definitely go ahead and check that out. And I think that one might be the hour-long one. If it is the hour-long one, then just come back to it, listen to it a bit by bit. If you're a person who can't listen to it straight through, definitely come back to that here and there, because I really go in on that one, and I explain the social programming of relationships that gives people perceptions that the system of things that we live in, the system wants people to have, rather than people actually analyzing for themselves and understanding relationships for themselves so that they can have their own perception of relationships and generate their own relationship mindset. So the social programming of relationships, people are operating on their social programming. So they just get obsessed with the lovey-dovey aspect of relationships, and they don't realize that there is much more than just the physical intimacy of relationships. There's a variety, there's various intricacies of relationships that most people fail to understand and observe, and also understand clearly enough for them to be able to maneuver throughout relationships and be able to contribute positively to their relationships rather than sabotaging them. And the sabotaging of relationships comes from dysfunctional minds of individuals. This is what I've learned from relationships. This right here is from my relationship studies and observation and analysis, is that dysfunctional minds, MINDS, causes dysfunctional relationships. I'll say that again. Dysfunctional minds causes dysfunctional relationships. And I see this time and time again. Whenever there is stress and dysfunction, especially dysfunction, and there's resistance within a relationship amongst people, it's usually due to one or more people having one form of dysfunction within their own minds, and they have limiting beliefs that causes them to hold back from doing what they want and need to do within a relationship, and they have insecurities. One thing I've learned from my analysis of relationships is that insecurities also are unresolved issues, mental issues that an individual has, because the insecurities makes people perceive things unnecessarily, and it makes them hold back from certain things unnecessarily, and it makes them feel like they have to do unnecessary things within their relationships. And if you just think about it, you got let me give you one insecurity. One insecurity is a controlling individual. Let's say a couple, a man and a woman, and it could be either gender too within a relationship. They always feel like they have to be around an individual, their mate, whenever there is other individuals around of the opposite sex, because they're nervous that there might be some kind of flirting going on, and they're nervous that the other person might end up liking the other people or anybody else. So you always have this individual that's always with the person because they're in fear They're in fear of losing the other person, and they're in fear of being jealous. Unnecessarily uncontrollable jealousy is a insecurity, and it is a aspect of the ego. That's what people have to understand, is the ego. They have to really have a clear understanding of what the ego is and its various functions that causes people to do, perceive, and say various unnecessary things. And it's the ego also many times that causes the people to sabotage relationships also. That's another thing people got to understand. So these are various things that causes dysfunction within a relationship. Now, as a team, you have to limit as much, and if not completely obliterate and prevent dysfunction within your own team, so that your team can be successful at whatever it is that you're seeking to be successful at. Now, as a relationship team, your objective can be whatever it is that you want to, whatever goals that you want to reach. This is on a individual couple basis. So you have to get together and speak with your mate, or even if you have friends, it's still a relationship team, your friends, whoever's involved, and discuss what type of goals you want to reach within your relationship. And once you come to a conclusion that you all agree upon as much as possible, sometimes compromising is necessary for each individual or all of you. So you have to understand compromising, because sacrifice is necessary within a team if you want to achieve a goal, you want to reach a goal. Think about Michael Jordan. Think about Kobe Bryant. Let me see, who else is a great winner? Think about Tom Brady. Think about Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant. What's the center? The black dude. What's the dude name? Draymond Green. All of these individuals understand sacrifice within a team, sacrificing for the greater good of the team. One thing that I've learned throughout my analysis of relationships is that very few people truly understand the importance of sacrifice for the betterment of the relationship. A lot of people are caught up in their ego trap that's always looking for me. What can you do for me? What have you done for me lately? You know the song by Janet Jackson, what have you done for me lately? Now that song right there is coming from the ego. Even those lyrics coming from the ego. So people who are operating within their relationships are acting just as that. They're operating from the ego. Most people who do not understand the ego and know how to operate outside of it, they usually are operating from within the ego. And as I said, that is one major cause of dysfunction. So if a person is operating from the ego, they're going to always looking for what can other people do for them, rather than them helping out the relationship, and what can they do to contribute to the relationship. So this is one of the top things you want to observe in a person, and see how much of a team mindset they have, if they do have one at all, and what aspects do they understand as far as a team regarding a relationship working together. And this is a variety of aspects in your relationship. This is a variety of things, like going to the store so that you can help out with dinner, even if it's not you actually paying for whatever it is that you're going to get. At least you make the effort to go out and go get whatever it is from the store to help out with dinner, regardless of the gender. Let me see here. Spending time with each other, even if it's on the phone, to give each other attention, and also, if necessary, to console each other. And of course, that's something that what women need, that's in their nature, whether people want to admit it or not, women want to admit it or not. They like having someone who they can actually speak to express themselves. And that's one thing that a lot of men do not understand, and a lot of men do not want to deal with that. But it's like, hey, if you want to deal with women, then that's one thing you're going to have to learn how to do. And if you don't want to deal with that aspect, then you're going to have to find a woman that's outside of her nature, who doesn't like that part or doesn't deal with that part of having somebody to console into, or you just have a certain aspect, just a sexual relationship, or you just don't deal with women at all. You gotta figure that out. But for me, I realized, like, look, if I want to have a relationship with women, then I need to understand women as much as possible. So now I'm at a above average knowledge of women than the average male. So now I know how to deal with women fluently and without me having to jeopardize my integrity, and I can just be myself. That's why a lot of women who speak with me, they connect with me instantly. For the ones who are in their nature still and who don't have a whole bunch of psychological issues that is clogging up their natural perception of what a man is and what a man's supposed to be, and also understanding maturity. That's one thing I've learned also in my relationship studies and observation and analysis of relationships, is that number one, very few people actually reach a psychological maturity level on a basic level, and number two, they don't really understand maturity, and they don't perceive what psychological maturity is when they are around an individual or they're speaking with an individual. So that's why when they choose these mates to get into a relationship with, they go crazy and they say this person is immature and yada yada yada. And that's because you yourself have not understood what maturity is, and you probably had a relationship void within yourself that causes you to have a desperation to be in a relationship. When an individual has a desperation to be in a relationship with another individual, they will bypass all of the red flags that are definitely there from the moment you speak to an individual, but you can't perceive them because you're so obsessed with being in a relationship and you're in a rush. Being in a rush to be in a relationship will make you miss so many red flags that are so like right there. And I just had a example, recent example, speaking with a new female that I met online, and it was like the second or third conversation when I asked her a question about herself made me realize, like, okay, this one is definitely not on a mature level that I want her to be on, and I can tell by the things that she said. And I'm glad that I was able to identify that early before I actually got in deep with her in a relationship. And that's what you want to do too, is you want to go through your own evaluation process, just like a sports team, a team organization. They have their own evaluation process before they actually sign players. That's the same thing. What you want to do is you want to have your own evaluation process to gauge the psychological conditioning of an individual before you decide to commit with them, whether it be a friendship or a dating for a committed relationship. But a lot of people don't understand psychological conditioning, so they wouldn't even understand what to look for and generate a evaluation process. So that's one thing that I'm considering teaching people how to do and giving them a basic structure. So that's one thing that I'll consider doing as far as a video to help people out, for those people who don't have much understanding of relationships and who can't put together their own evaluation process to know what to look for. But you definitely want to look for individuals who have a great amount of social skills, being able to articulate themselves, being able to express themselves for the things that they want and need from other people. And that's one thing that I've learned from the other individual that I was speaking to. She didn't know, she said it herself that she didn't know how to express herself. And that was a major red flag for me, because the individuals who do not understand how to express themselves, that is a issue that needs to be resolved before going into a relationship deep within them, unless individuals want to assist the other person and help raising them up and helping them evolve their social skills, which that's one thing that I help people do as a personal development consultant with my personal development consultations and also my subliminal videos and audios. You can check out my Neo Oneness Subliminals YouTube channel here, I speak a lot about the mind and the subconscious mind, and my subliminal videos help add positive beliefs regarding anything that people want to evolve on, improve on, and also it helps change their negative limiting beliefs, releasing those and adding positive beliefs. So for this example, as far as the social skills, I can offer people and create a custom social genius subliminal video and audio for them that will help them be fluent, express themselves fluently, just as I have been utilizing my own subliminal videos to help my own mind and enhance it. It's an aid because I add this along with my personal development process. I did that because I did my own personal development process years ago. I started this a long time ago, and I completed a lot of it, and I was able to go through the traditional normal way of enhancing my social skills. But once I got on to understanding how to create my own subliminal videos and audios, I utilized that, and now I enhanced it even more, so now I can express myself fluently. So the thing is, overall, the importance is definitely having a team mindset and working together. I feel like more people, when they understand a team mindset within a relationship, they can better off unite with each other and look for ways to help each other out to make the team a successful team, rather than looking at various situations from their ego, where it's just a me situation, and just looking to gain things from other people. And that's where people mess up. So you got to look for those individuals who are in their ego, always looking for what people can do for them. Those are the people you don't want to get involved with unless you speak to them about it and you help them get out of that mindset, that selfish mindset. And sometimes you don't observe if a person is selfish or not until you're actually in a certain situation with them. So it's like when you're considering dating or friendship, you definitely have to spend time with them and go through different situations to be able to observe various aspects of their mind, because there's certain things that will trigger their true beliefs. Because a lot of people, they put on a projection of maturity, but it's really artificial maturity that a lot of people actually portray. That's one book that I read, is Artificial Maturity. It's a maroon book with a little boy on it, dressed up in a dress shirt and tie. Go check out that book. It's called Artificial Maturity. This is what a lot of parents portray and a lot of people portray, is artificial maturity. And one thing I've learned throughout my analysis of relationships also too is a lot of people have been duped to believe that having money, having a job, having a car, and even their own house, their own place to live, and even children, that they think that equates them to psychological maturity at a adequate level. No, as I said before in my previous videos, that is only aspects of maturity that is an option for people to obtain for themselves if they want those things. But psychological maturity starts within the mind, the development of the mind of an individual, a high quality level of the mind, allowing people to have great adequate social skills, allowing them to be able to perceive what is petty and what's not, and how to let go and overcome those petty situations. The more petty a person is, and the easier that they get angry at these little petty things that go on throughout their life, within their relationships and within their life in general, the more likely they are at a lower maturity level. So you got to look out for these individuals, and you do not want to be obsessed with entering a relationship with these individuals. If they can't get over small petty stuff, then you more than likely are not a match for them, and they're not ready for a relationship. And one thing I want to say also too is, being petty, that is not cute at all. If an individual thinks that being petty is cute and it's a cool thing to do and to do within themselves and within their life, do not try to be in a relationship with them until they actually mature and they understand that pettiness is part of the immature, childish stuff. It's childish. That's for children. And this is people of all ages. And I'm telling you, I used to think that it was just young people within their teenage years and younger, but no. Nowadays, here in America especially, these individuals nowadays who are immature, they're in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and even 60s. And I can tell you but that by example too, by my own family, personal experiences. A lot of my family have not grown up. A lot of my family are psychological children. And that's what a lot of people here in America are, psychological children. So that's why I take my time and I really do my own psychological evaluation before I go ahead and move forward with anybody. So I know what to expect, and I know what I'm dealing with. And even if I want to tolerate anything, tolerate their behavior due to their dysfunctional mind. So it's a lot going on with people these days, and you can't just be willy-nilly with people these days. I'm telling you, because a lot is going on with this society, and the society is doing its best to keep people on a low childlike level psychologically, and there's very few people nowadays who actually perceive what's going on in this world in general, in this system of things, and who want to enhance themselves. Anybody who do not want to enhance themselves, avoid trying to get involved with them in a relationship unless you really feel like they really are good people and they can help, they can add to a relationship. But other than that, they don't have that team mindset, and they don't understand sacrifice, and they don't want to get better. It's like trying to be on a team with it's like Tom Brady. Tom Brady, he doesn't want people who are lazy, who don't want to enhance themselves, who doesn't want to get better, and who doesn't want to let go of their bad habits. He wants winners. So it's the same thing with you. You also need to want winners. You want to have high standards, but high enough to where they're attainable, but not to where they're ridiculous. That's how a lot of people are nowadays. They have ridiculous standards to where even them, they haven't reached those standards. And a lot of people have materialistic standards. That's where it's part of the ego. Where, for example, some people, if they say that if somebody doesn't have a car, they don't want to be in a relationship with them. If somebody doesn't have a certain amount of money, they don't want to be in a relationship with them. See, it's that whole ego. That's part of the ego. Materialism is part of the ego. As far as a teammate, being in a relationship, materialism can only go so far. So even the most wealthy people, I've learned this too by studying and observing relationships. The most wealthiest people in the world, some of them have terrible relationships, and they don't know how to operate within relationship themselves because they're so obsessed with materialism and keeping on a front that they are high and mighty due to all of the materialistic things that they have obtained for themselves. So they have not done the personal development work to be able to obtain a relationship mindset. So it's like, okay, they have the materialistic, what can I say, the material possessions, and they have a great job and yada 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 and a good amount of money, but they suck at relationships. And this is a variety of people these days. They might have that material possessions, and these are all fronts, and that's what the ego does. The ego puts on a front, a projection of maturity, and a projection that everything is all right with the individual. But if you really do your own evaluation of the individual and you break down and remove all of the material possessions, you can see how the individual is just a little child. And I can get down to the bare minimum of the individual, and I can see where they're at, if they really have reached an adequate level of psychological maturity or not, or they're still on a childlike level regardless of their materialism, regardless of their social status. They a big music star, movie star, basketball, football, whatever. So I'm gonna go ahead and close that out. So give that some thought. If you have to listen to this video again, definitely go ahead and do that some other time. Definitely click the like button for this video if you have learned and enjoyed this video in one way or another. Please do share this link with anybody else that you feel might be interested. Same on your social profiles. All you have to do is click, if you're looking at this on a device, click the share button, and then it will give you options of where to be able to share this within your social profiles, or just copy and paste the link into your social profile news feeds. And definitely click the subscribe button and the bell button if you want email updates to stay updated with my new videos, because I offer a lot of relationship information from my relationship studies and analysis, and I do real deal analysis of relationships in general, and you will learn one or more major things that you have not learned before. So this is a great channel if you want to learn more about relationships, personal development, and also various spirituality, aspects of spirituality. And if you have any questions, comments that you want to share with me, you can email me at CommittedRelationships@gmail.com. If you would like help with your personal development process, definitely go to my CommittedRelationships.info website. That will be in the description. And also you can check out my transformationalsubliminals.com website. I think it's transformational. I gotta check and see what my link is. I forgot what it is, but that's my other subliminal website, which that's part of my personal development website too, which you probably should go to that one first. It's my Neo Oneness Subliminals website, and you can check out my YouTube channel at Neo Oneness Subliminals. I'll do my best to include that link too. But regardless, if you can't find the link, then make sure you email me and just I'll give it to you too. All right, thank you very much for listening, and until next time.